Welcome back, everyone, to another reaction video. First of all, before we dive into today's topic, I want to give a huge shout out to you, the Vlogging Through History community. You guys came through in flying colors. Man, I was so blown away, and I know that Roman history was too. Yesterday, we did a reaction to the Roman history video on Brown versus Board of Education. And while that video itself actually didn't do very well here on the channel, and sometimes that happens, it's not a huge deal, I asked you guys if you would help me get that channel over 1,000 subscribers, because I knew that getting them over 1,000 would mean that they'd be able to apply for monetization. And if they could start monetizing, that might encourage them to keep making content, because I think there's a lot of promise here. Even though they were a small channel, only less than 700 subscribers, the videos they've got so far are fantastic, and I would love to see more from them. So it took about 2 hours for you guys to get them over 1,000 subscribers. And at last check, here we are 24 hours later, they're nearly at 2,000 subscribers. So thank you to every one of you who went over there and subscribed. I'd also encourage you to watch all 3 of the videos, the full-length documentary videos that they have on the channel so far. And he did mention that they have another one coming. I alluded to the 101st Airborne Division being involved in helping students in Little Rock, and I've been to that school in Little Rock. Where they helped, I think there were 9 students that were integrating. So he's got a video coming out about that soon, so that'll be worth checking out. We will definitely react to more in the near future. But today, we're going to something a little bit different, and that is the history of Europe every year from our friend Emperor Tiger Star. Link is in the description if you want to check out his original content without my commentary. Let's go ahead and dive into this one. So this is one of those typical ones where it shows you a map, and we're just kind of learning history based on the map. So we're going to start out with 3600 BC. So there's not a lot going on except for the Minoan Greece. And like he said at the beginning there, a lot of this is just based on what we don't know, right? I mean, there are probably people living in these places, but we don't have written histories. So we don't really know what's going on for these first several centuries. But the Greeks, obviously, we know the Greeks and the Romans did leave a lot of written history, so we're going to know a lot about what's happening down in these regions than we are with the areas up in Germany, France, Britain, Scandinavia, places like that. But we know there were people there. So now we see the Greeks have conquered everything. I might just go ahead and take the sound down and maybe just slow this thing down a little bit, just to make it a little easier for us to do that way. Because a lot's happening. You know, we're only going down a year at a time now, but you'll see multiple Greek kingdoms. When we talk about Greece, we're talking about all of the different Greek kingdoms, the Macedonians, the Thracians, and all these other groups. But now we see Rome starting to form. We see Carthage is still kind of the main power right now, but we're going to see Rome defeat them and start to become, right now, you know, if you think about it, it's still anybody's game, right? The Greeks, the Seleucids out there in the east, you've got the Carthaginians, you've got the Celtic peoples, the Germanic peoples, Baltic peoples, Slavs over here. Now we're starting to see the earliest forebears of these places. We've got Finns, right? Norsemen, Britons. All of these are going to start forming these nations down the road, but first they're all going to be conquered by the Romans for the most part. But right now it's Carthaginians still. Now Rome is defeating Carthage. And you see up here in the top left, he's saying what wars are happening and what the largest city in Europe is at that time, which is Rome. And it's going to be Rome for a while. We're still about 100 plus years, almost 200 years from the Roman Empire. Now Rome's starting to conquer territory. They've got most of what was Carthage. They're going to start conquering the Greek states to the east now. They're going to take Spain. Rome's still the largest city. And of course, we're going to have Julius Caesar coming onto the scene here soon, and he's going to conquer the Celtic peoples. Germanic peoples are never really going to be conquered at all, but Rome has become now the dominant force in the Mediterranean. Now we're into Julius Caesar's time. We're going to see him conquer Gaul, which is today mostly France. That's about as far as he's going to get. The next step for the Britons are going to be going east, and then, of course, they're going to take territory in Africa. They're going to conquer Egypt. They're going to take the southern part of Britannia anyway, most of what today is England. Rome's still the largest city, obviously. There's a lot going on here that we could really break down, but we're not going to talk about all that. Look, now it's Rome. It's dominated by Rome. Rome is it. But that is not going to last for more than a couple of centuries. There, they've conquered southern England now, moving into Wales. Now we're going to get into the year of 3 emperors in 69 AD, and a lot of turnover going to happen. They're never going to get as far as conquering what today is Scotland, but this is about the height, right? I mean, this is about as far as it's going to go for the Romans before things are going to start to decline. You're going to see the split into the Eastern and Western Roman empires here in just a little while. They've conquered Turkey now, all of the Baltic state or the Balkan states. Pretty stable for the time being, but you've got all of these various tribes along the frontier here that they're never able to deal with, the Germanic tribes. You got the Dacians over here, and I think things are about to start declining now. Once we get to the year 200, we're going to see Rome get sacked in the near future a couple of times, and you're only going to be as strong as your infrastructure, as your leadership that allows for things. I'm going to go ahead and speed back up just because there's not a lot happening right now. Now, you just see the Gallic Empire break off briefly, but then very quickly get reconquered by Rome. So for a while there, Rome loses a lot of their western territory. Spain, France, England, in terms of modern nations that we're dealing with. But they'll gain much of that right back. You see now they're losing territory in the east. There's cracks starting to happen, right? Now we've split into the Western and Eastern Roman empires. Now we're going to see multiple Caesars at the same time. You're going to have, like a senior emperor and a junior emperor in both the East and the West. But then that's all going to be kind of united under Constantine. And now we've got a united Roman Empire again. But now the Visigoths are coming in. Here come the Huns. Think Attila. Okay, now we've got a real split between Eastern and Western Roman Empire. You get the Huns right there. You got the Slavs up here. That's going to kind of turn into the beginning stages of Russia. And now we've got the Visigoths here, the Franks right there. We're going to start to see the empire that will one day be ruled by Charlemagne in the Frankish empires there. And now, the Rome is just kind of going back and forth. Kingdom of the Vandals, the Visigoths. There it is. The Western Roman Empire is no more. The Ostrogoths. Here's the Frankish kingdom. Anglo-Saxons now. There's Wessex and Sussex and Kent and Mercia and East Anglia. So we're starting to see many of the nations that are going to kind of be identified with the Middle Ages up until the Norman conquest. So now we're going to see the Lombardies. There's the Frankish kingdom, and that's going to get increasingly united. It's going to split and kind of go back and forth, and then it's going to unite, and then a generation or two after Charlemagne, it's going to split into Eastern and Western Frankish kingdoms that are going to one day become Germany and France. But we're not quite there yet. There's the Southern Slavs, Yugoslavia, a country that existed until a few decades ago was the Southern Slavs. So what do we have now? We have Croats, right? Croatians. One day there'll be Bohemians. There's going to be Bohemia there, which is kind of Czechoslovakia eventually, and then the Czech Republic and Slovakia. We've got Saxons here. Now we've got multiple Britannic kingdoms. Northumbria has formed. There's various Irish kingdoms here. The Picts up here. Now we've got Muslim conquest of Spain. Here's the real Frankish kingdom that's going to develop under Charlemagne, Frankish Empire now. And then, of course, a generation or two later, that's going to split. And eventually, in another couple hundred years, we're going to get the Holy Roman Empire that's going to control. There's East Francia, Middle Francia, West Francia. Now we've got Norwegian states, Swedish states forming. There's the Danelaw. You see the Vikings have invaded eastern, what is today England. Scotland has formed. You've got Serbia, the first Bulgarian Empire. Eastern Roman Empire still hanging on and will hang on for another 500 years in some form or another. Kievan Rus has now formed. That is the early formation of what will become Russia. There's Poland. There's the Holy Roman Empire. There's England, finally formed as a country. So it's amazing how quickly, in just a few centuries, we have gone from the Roman empires and barbarian tribes and Celtic peoples to the early forms of what are going to be our modern nations 1,000 years later, right? We've got France. We've got Holy Roman Empire, which is going to be Germany and Austria and northern Italy. We've got Bohemia, which is today Czechia. You've got Poland, relatively the way that it's formed today. You've got Hungary as a nation. Kievan Rus is going to form the beginning stages of what is Russia today. Norway, Sweden, Scotland, all of that. Now you've got a breakup of the Spanish kingdoms there. Leon, Toledo, they're going to start to form Navarre. There's Brittany. Wales is there. Now we've got the Norman conquest. And so now we're going to see parts of France come under English domination, at least for a while. Eastern Roman Empire is small, but it's kind of pushing back and gaining some territory. Constantinople is the largest city now, today's Istanbul. There's the Angevin Empire. So look at that. At this point, 1168, before it all goes south, when you have Richard the Lionheart and then John, and they're going to very quickly lose all of that. Look at how much territory England rules. These are the Angevins. We call them the Plantagenets today, but at the time they would have been the Angevins. France has got very little of its own territory at this point. There's Aragon, there's Portugal forming now. Bohemia is part of the Holy Roman Empire. Now you're going to see John lose most of that, and then his descendants, I think his son's Henry III, lose a lot of that. Look at what just happened in the East. The Mongols came through and just wrecked everybody in Eastern Europe to where the Kievan Rus is gone now. The Mongols have taken all of that territory, the Golden Horde, but all of that is going to slowly start to fall away from the Mongol sway over the coming generations. There's Wallachia. Kind of the early stages of Romania. Look how little territory the Eastern Roman Empire has now, and they've got a little over 100 years left before they're gone altogether. Now we're starting to see Muslim domination of modern Turkey. There's Serbia, Bulgaria. Look, Eastern Roman Empire is almost gone completely now. They've got just a tiny bit of territory left. Hungary gained a lot of territory for a while. There's the Polish-Lithuanian Union. There's the Teutonic state, which is going to kind of be the precursor to Prussia happening there. England once again conquers a bunch of northern France. This time it's under Henry V, but again they're going to quickly lose it when Henry V dies young in his 30s and leaves the territories to his 9-month-old son Henry VI, who will never be a very good king. There's Scotland. Now we're getting into the Wars of the Roses for England. Holy Roman Empire's got some issues that they're dealing with. There's Aragon and Castile, which are soon going to unite in the form of Spain. We've got Portugal, basically with its modern borders. There's Muscovy, Golden Horde, Lithuania, Poland. We're going to start to see modern Russia born out of all of this very, very soon. There's the Ottoman Empire. Here comes Muscovy taking over. We're going to see Russia soon. Constantinople's still the largest city in Europe. It's Ottoman now, however. And you see these buffer states, Hungary, Moldavia, Wallachia. This is when you have a lot of fighting going on. This is the frontier at this point, right, between Christian Europe and Muslim Europe. France has got a lot of territory today that belongs to Italy. There's Spain. Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth at their height. Sweden's going to start rising as a world power. There's Russia. We're going to see Sweden kind of get to their heights here very soon. All the different wars you see going on. French Wars of Religion, 30 Years' War, 80 Years' War, Wars of the Three Kingdoms. Constantinople still the largest city. Now we're into the time when they've started to settle North America, South America. Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth's going to fall apart. You see Sweden was at their height right there, right? This is when they're going to start to go to war with everybody, and they're going to lose a lot of that territory, and they're going to get knocked down to size. The Austrians are very powerful at this point. France's borders are more or less what they are today, the modern borders. Holy Roman Empire is pretty well broken up. There's Prussia. There's Hanover, which is in a joint union with the UK under their Hanoverian kings. We're about to see Napoleon, but there's France, basically with their modern borders. London is now the largest city in Europe, and it's going to remain that way for a long, long time. There's Napoleon, right? We skipped over it, but it happened pretty fast. There's the French Empire. Look how much territory they've gained. They conquered a lot of Spain, almost just as quickly lost it. The Russian Empire, now we're starting to see consolidation of all of these nations, starting to see their modern borders. We're about to see Germany formed. I'm going to slow down here again now, back to a slower speed. There's so much happening here all at once now. There's Italy forming as a nation. Here comes North German Confederation. There's Germany. They just won the Franco-Prussian War against France. They've taken Alsace and Lorraine. That's an area that's going to go back and forth in the coming decades. Here's Austria-Hungary. There's the Ottomans. They're going to be the next one to really decline as you start to see these Baltic these Balkan states are going to start fighting these wars. And here comes the First World War, and everything's going to change, and change rapidly. There you go. You've got the USSR now. You've got Poland reformed. You've got France occupying territory in Germany. You've got the Netherlands and Belgium, which of course formed in the early part of the, Belgium formed in the 1830s. There went Germany, very quickly conquering a bunch of territory, and then just as quickly losing that territory. And now you see the various regions that they broke up, and now it's West Germany and East Germany. There's Czechoslovakia. And things are going to start to settle down. The main changes we're going to see at this point, we're going to see Germany reunite around 1990. We're going to see the Soviet Union break up. We're going to see Czechoslovakia break up. Yugoslavia is going to break up. We're going to see Moldova carved out of territory here. There's Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. And things have basically settled down. There's still a little bit of things happening here and there in the former Yugoslavia. But there you have it. All right, so boom, 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 boom. That was really, really quick. But that's just kind of a fun way to see how much history there is in Europe and how quickly it all changed. And now the largest city is back to being Istanbul, Constantinople. So basically, for 2,000 years, with a few changes here and there, your three largest cities, and your largest city in Europe has either been Rome, Constantinople, Istanbul, and London. And that's about it. And when did that change? I'm curious to see when it changed from being London back to being Istanbul again. Probably very recently, I would imagine. So in 1950, it's still London. Oh, it went to Moscow in the 70s. I did not know that. Okay, so we did see, and I wasn't watching every minute of it, so I'm sure there were some changes here and there. But Moscow into the 90s is the largest city in Europe. And then Istanbul in 2006. All right, very cool. If you like those kinds of things, Emperor Tiger Star's got a lot of videos just like that. And you can obviously slow it down and really watch all the details if you want to. But I'll put the link in the description. You can check those out for yourself. I'll put in the description as well any other videos of his that I have done, and throw up some links on the screen for you as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.